Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello there and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host, as always, McLemore. How's everything going out there for you guys? What's new with me? Well, since you asked so nicely, I'll tell you, I just came back from the middle of the country, that's right, straight from Oklahoma, where the wind goes sweeping down the plain. That's right, took a little trip down to Oklahoma to visit my sister, my niece and nephew, and don't you forget about my brother-in-law. That's right, flew over there, and then we drove back to Cali, doing a little family time. When was the last time you guys had a big flight delay? Because I don't think I've ever had more than just like a couple hours, but this was like the first time we had like a pretty big weather delay going into Dallas when all of a sudden the pilot, ladies and gentlemen, we're approaching a little bit of weather. We're going to fly around and see if we can avoid that for a little bit. Just try to be patient with us. So flew around a little bit and eventually ran out of fuel. Had to land down in Waco, refuel, and then eventually made it to Dallas. And I feel like I would have been probably more irritated if it wasn't for this lady like in the seat right in front of me. You guys ever have that thing where it's like, you ever get like in line for like a roller coaster and like someone in your party is like super nervous, so for whatever reason it makes you less nervous? Having someone there that's like super scared for whatever reason or at least me personally, like having someone next to me that's like terrified makes me slightly less terrified. Like, well, I'm not scared as this dude. Like somehow it makes me like more brave, like more courageous when others are terrified around me. And I think that was kind of what was happening with this lady in front of me. Like, this lady was getting so frustrated that it was totally, like, chilling me out. Like, I was getting, like, anytime I would start getting, like, a little bit annoyed, I'd be like, well, you know, I'm not as annoyed as this lady who's, like, losing her mind. She had, like, a little kid with her, and it's interesting how you can, like, kind of tell when someone's like, it's not their kid. It's like, this was like an older sister or like friend of the family, or maybe like an aunt, maybe. It didn't even have like an aunt vibe. It had like it wasn't even like an older sister vibe, because I don't know, just the way she was, I don't know, it was like a friend of the family kind of vibe. Either way, she was like being really aggressive with this kid, shushing his face, like, and, like, I'll say this, like, defending the kid, he was not being terrible. He was being okay. Like, it's kind of a long flight, Cali to Dallas. I think it's, like, 3.5, maybe. So when you consider 3.5 hours of just having to, like, sit in this spot, the kid was doing decent. Like, he was doing all right. Like, he wasn't really annoying me, but he was annoying the hell out of his travel partner, because anytime he would do anything, she would just like right, like face to face, like, Logan, be quiet. And it's like, Jesus, lady. It was just like kind of singing the ABCs. Like, it wasn't really bothering anybody. It's just like, Logan. It's like, jeez. And then, man, kids with the tablets too. Like, I don't have any kids of my own, and luckily my niece and nephews aren't that crazy with the tablet, but this kid was like surgically attached. Like, we're in the very back of the plane, like where the bathroom is. The bathroom was like right behind me. So there's a moment where like they get up to use the bathroom, and like as they're walking to the bathroom, this kid starts freaking, dude. He's just like tablet, like having like almost like a seizure, like tablet. And she's just like, load. It's like literally like 6 feet to the bathroom. Like it's a 20 steps and you're in the bathroom, and then 20 more and you're back. And that was too much for this kid to handle. He was losing it. And she's like, oh my God, okay, here's your tablet. Now go piss. And then she came back and she's like, see, this is why I don't want to bring the tablet. It's all filthy now. But overall, yeah, and then that's not even the best part too. So like, yeah, like her having a terrible time was making my experience like not so bad. And then like when we land in Waco too, she's like calling whoever her travel person is, and like that's like she's meeting up with, and she's like, I don't even know what's happening. Like, oh my gosh, we've been flying for like ever. We could have like totally been in Hawaii by now. And it's like, bitch, do you not know how travel works? Like, what do you mean Hawaii? I'm pretty sure it's a way longer flight. And you're going the opposite direction. What do you mean going to Hawaii? Where did that even come from? And then it just gets even better, too. So then it's like, I knew she was going to do, too. I knew it. So again, we're in the biggity back to the plane. Like, back to the plane. And so what happens when the plane lands? Bing! You may remove your seatbelts. The entire plane fucking and stands up and gets in that middle row. And of course, this lady's like, come on, London, we gotta go, let's go! Like, as soon as it's available for her to stand up. And so she stands up and it's like, boom, instant line. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, go ahead. Be part of that moronic group that just stands for like a solid 15 minutes for no reason. And then it's even better, too, because I'm just sitting there, like, staring at her as she's just like, oh, come on. Oh, what are you doing? I'm just like, yeah, yes. I feel like the fucking Emperor Palpatine watching Luke Skywalker turn to the dark side, just sitting there like, yes. I can feel your hatred. It makes you stronger. Yes, give in to the hatred. Give in to the frustration. I'm sitting there with my hoodie on, just like, yes, good. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So yeah, I made it to Dallas. Major delay, missed my connecting flight. And that was another thing I got to experience for the first time, which was having my flight rebooked or whatever. So you go over to the customer service area, and man, this line was like hardcore. Not only was the line huge, but that line was not moving at all. And you know what's the worst part about being in a huge line that doesn't move? It's like anytime you glance over, it's like the people at the counter are just like chilling and having like a totally chill convo, while you have like 1,000 people in front of you, and everyone's just like, son of a God damn it, I'm gonna miss my flight. And then every time you look at the counter, they're just like, oh, me? No, I had a salad for lunch. No carbs for this guy. And it's like, are you even working on the flights, man? Are you even like helping at all? Like, stop having these personal combos and move the line on. Yeah, and then like my phone was like, other people were like calling ahead and like just like getting helped out on the phone and then just like dipping out of the line. But then my phone was dying, so I didn't want to like have my phone die while trying to escape this line. I finally get up there. My interaction is like, boom, 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 we're done. I was like, hey, missed it. And she's like, oh, you're good. And she's like, oh, I wish all of them were this easy. And I'm like, yeah, me too, lady. What is going on up here? I'm like, dude, are people getting their flights rescheduled and getting their taxes done? Are we getting our flights rebooked while also refinancing our homes? Like, what is taking so long? Is this like where we change our flights and also do our DMV testing? Like, dude, the line was moving so slow. But you know, like, and then this isn't even like the end of it. The airport saga continues, because then when I'm waiting for my extra flight, I was so sure that this dude was doing like a candid camera, like Jamie Kennedy hidden camera show, but he wasn't. I was so, like, if it hadn't been for the fact that it was like 11 o'clock at night at the very, very end of the terminal where there's only like 50 people, like it was like late at night, everybody's like, you know, either just like starting to fall asleep or everybody's being all quiet and chill, just waiting for our flight. And then this dude, you ever like had like someone's like talking around you and like you don't really hear them until like a certain like free like key phrase or like a certain word just like locks in, you're just like, huh? All of a sudden, like, what? This dude's just kind of like walking like from one side of the airport, slowly walking by me, and I can just hear having like a one-way conversation. And he's like, yeah, I texted her, yeah. Well, it's pretty obvious that she doesn't want to talk to me. Like full yelling in the terminal at like almost midnight, so that it's like, it's not loud at all. And he's just like, well, it's pretty obvious she doesn't want to talk to me. And everyone's like, oh, Jesus, what is happening? And he kind of like walks off and continues his convo. And then like we're just sitting, waiting. And then they start like boarding. And then he like kind of makes his way back around. And he's like, yeah, well, she got what she wanted. She got what she wanted, didn't she? And it's just like, oh, man, maybe not the best place. Like, take it down. And no wonder she left you, bro. You're losing it. If you're going from like straight 1 to 11 like this, like, no wonder it didn't work out. But yeah, it was just like, it was so, like, this isn't real, right? This is like, someone's definitely doing like a hidden camera thing, but it's like, oh, it was real. It was too real is what the problem was. But yeah, finally made my way back to the sunny California, which at the moment is not that sunny, but we made it. Drove all the way back, and it wasn't actually that bad driving. Threw on some the playlist road trip bangers or whatever, and had a bunch of classic road trip songs to help out, and had a little bit of truck trouble, but I mean, like, that just adds to the road trip adventure. Like, overall, it was not that bad. Made it through, and when you consider that we had like 2 infant children in it, I mean, like, they did pretty good overall. It could have been way worse, but overall, really good trip. And then wanted to talk about some upcoming stuff. You guys check out Jake Gyllenhaal at that UFC event. What the fuck, dude? Throw it up. Jake Gyllenhaal showing off for his upcoming. All right, we need to take this very slowly. All right, so first of all, let's just concentrate on Jake Gyllenhaal, because we're going to talk about Roadhouse very soon. He's got that new Roadhouse remake coming up, and he like showed up showing off like his fucking physique, and the dude is Shredsville, like insanely shredded. Obviously, the dude's all natty as well. No, I'm kidding, because it's like, no, there's no way, dude. Who did that extremely shred? Like, he looks amazing, and it just like gets me really excited for Roadhouse, the remake. I mean, can we just appreciate that Roadhouse is probably one of the greatest movies ever made? Roadhouse, dude. A monster truck demolishes like a car dealership, and everyone's just like, yeah, it happens. That's what happens when you go against the boss of the town. There's a dude who pretty much is so corrupt that he can run a monster truck through another man's business and just get away with it. Probably Patrick Swayze's best film. I mean, it's a tie up there with Point Break too. But if you want peak Patrick Swayze, peak Patrick Swayze, you go to Roadhouse, dude. The best part of Roadhouse is when she's like, "Hey, you got a name?" And he's just like, "Yeah." Oh, not even gonna tell her a name. Like, "Yeah, bitch, I got a name." And that's the end of the convo. Boom! Patrick Swayze. Gonna be tough to top, but hey, I am a huge Gyllenhaal fan. Jake Gyllenhaal is the shit, dude. What is that movie? Nocturnal? Or, can never think of stuff on the spot when I'm actually recording. The one where he's like a paparazzi dude. It's like Nocturnal or Nightcrawler. Boom! Nightcrawler is such a great movie. He's great in Nightcrawler. He's great in Zodiac. I want to say he's great in almost everything. Awesome Mysterio. Can't wait to see him as the fucking bouncer at the fucking ultra crazy bar or whatever. And then this is also going to be the film debut of Mr. Conor McGregor. I cannot wait to see. You know he's going to be the bad guy, dude. You know he's going to be like that crazy guy from the first Roadhouse. I'm pretty sure there's a part where he's like, "Yeah, I used to fuck guys like you in prison," which is terrifying. Something you never want to hear in a fight, because A, it's like it'll completely terrify the hell out of me, And B, it'll also confuse the hell out of me. Like if I was fighting somebody and the dude was like, yeah, I used to fuck guys like you in prison, I'd be like, whoa. First of all, you're not gonna like get inside me, right? Like we're just fighting. Like, you know what? You win. I'm good. I don't want to. You win, bro. You want it more than me. I would never fight somebody so hard that I would have to dominate them in that way. But yeah, it should be awesome to see Conor McGregor as like a full villain bad guy, throwing all those fucking kits around like crazy. Versus Jake Gyllenhaal, and I just saw that boxing movie too, Southpaw or whatever. Dude gets like Shredsville for that too. Really looking forward to the new Roadhouse. I think it should be awesome. Big fan of whatever Jake Gyllenhaal does. And then speaking of upcoming films, even sooner than that new Roadhouse, I'm not even sure when that new Roadhouse comes out. I think they're filming now, so it might be like another year. But in other coming soon news, oh yeah, it's almost John Wick o'clock here. Like we're about to hit midnight on John Wick 4. The doomsday clock for every henchman ever is slowly ticking down to zero. And that's the other thing too, is that like to prepare for John Wick 4, I did a bit of a John Wick-a-thon, John Wick marathon, 1 to 3, almost back to back. Like I almost did it like one entire saga. And let me tell you this, I highly recommend that you do not do that. Like don't watch John Wick back to back because it slowly just blurs into like one giant massacre. The more like, and it just like, if anything, it starts to like really dull my senses to violence. I don't know, like at a certain point in the middle of like the third movie, I'm just like, honestly, I'm a little bored with all this like gratuitous death. Like at a certain point, it's just like I can't even remember what the main, like why we're killing everybody in the nightclub. I don't even remember. It's just one big just massacre of all these bad guys. The amount of endless fathers and sons and brothers and husbands who have all died at the hands of John Wick must be insane. Do you guys remember when like COVID first popped off and like everybody had to stay inside and like the smog in LA completely vanished and like it had like a real effect on like the environment? Like that is like the same effect John Wick is having in his universe. Like John Wick has murdered so many dudes that like the carbon footprint has been reduced. Like John Wick is actually good for the environment because he's murdering so many people, dude. I'm pretty sure like a week after John Wick 3, there was probably somebody driving around. Where does that movie even take place? Like Moscow or something? I'm pretty sure somebody was driving around Moscow like, God damn, traffic is really lightening up on the freeway here. And it's like, yeah, thanks to John Wick. He's like wiping out so many dudes. The amount of guys, there had to be at least one, not even one, there had to be at least like 20 guys who were like, nah, I'll just take this job. You know, it's just like a bodyguard job. I just have to guard the door. I'm just a bouncer pretty much. Cut to, well, he died from multiple pencil stab wounds to the face, or like, what are the most horrific John Wick deaths? Mommy, how did Daddy die? Well, the Baba Yaga stuffed a book into his mouth and then broke his fucking jaw in half. It was a bad end for Dad. Dude, there must be whole entire like support groups where like all these families get together and they have like a big circle and it's like, well, you know, it was rough this week. It was real rough. I'm really missing my husband. He only took that job because we have these new babies. Oh, our newborns were just, you know, we were really struggling for money, and he was like, hey, I'll take this bodyguard job for like a week, and then we'll have enough money to make it by. And then he died horrifically when John Wick kicked him to death with a horse, and it's like, oh God, John Wick is coming. Having said that, still really looking forward to number 4. I mean, like, if I had to pick one, I don't even know. Like I said, I really got affected by like the blur effect of just like this big blur of violence. But I want to say that like 2 maybe takes a dip because there's that thing where like the guy comes back to like, hey, you owe me. I got my bloody fingerprint on this. You owe me. That whole thing is kind of like, eh. But I remember 3 being cool, and I'm really looking forward to 4. I've said it like 30 times, and I will not stop saying it. Donnie Yen, dude. He's going to kill it. I cannot wait for Donnie Yen. And I cannot wait for other little surprises. Like, there's always like a random, like, oh shit, is that fucking John Jones? Like, randomly, there'll just be like a random UFC fighter that just pops up. Oh shit, is that Chuck Liddell fighting John Wick? So yeah, it should be interesting. Really looking forward to it. And we can probably go ahead and wrap it up right there. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the In Between Podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It's definitely much appreciated, and it helps keep the show alive here at Mom's Garage Studios. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore. We'll see you next time.